is what are the terms of the contract. Whether those goods of 1 lakh rupees are sent free of cost. See. Job work I understand, but whether the price is shown, because there are judgments that if the goods are sent for job work, then in that case it will be treated as purchases. If in tenders or in works contract cases, if we are not going into that, then if the goods
I say that Section 6A requires C form for the goods. F form. Section 6A requires F form for the goods moved from one state to another. Otherwise, then by way of sale. Now here there is a deemed sale, so only C form will be sufficient.
Are you going to pay tax on the full amount?
So here the question arises, how you prepare the bills. How you prepare the bill, it depends upon the bill, how you prepare. Suppose
I have sent the goods to you for job work, which I have and your goods are used in that job work. So your tax liability will be to the extent of the goods used.
There is no doubt about it, sir.
So in that case, how you prepare the bills, then the consequences will arise. If you show the good labor charges this much and the taxable goods this much, in that case, whatever the taxable sales, to that extent C form is required, and for others, F form is required. Means two forms required.
That's right.
But it depends upon how you prepare the bills. How you prepare the bill. First of all, you clear us how you prepare the bill, then we will reply.
Bills will like you only, as you said. As you said, accordingly the bills will be paid.
Yes.
Still, whether two forms will required or not.
Yes, two forms required. If the bill is prepared in this fashion.
So I think sufficient the decision has taken place. Better to go for two forms. Because Ambika will come in picture, job work return goods are there. And if at all you want to take a chance, you can go by one form and see what happens. Also in the next RRs you can inform about it.
Next.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
The London paper writer has observed that the periodicity for declarations cannot be said to be mandatory and cited certain judgments. Whether you agree with the said view on the present legal position? Yes, we agree. Yes, we said that periodicity is not mandatory and it's only the requirement, it's the procedural requirement, as the case law of CIPLA is also applicable, and Pranav Bhai has also cited that Gujarat Tribunal has given one case wherein it was...
So according to that is not mandatory. But according to me, I still believe it is mandatory now, because India's judgment has come and they have very statically said that rules have to be followed, and our tribunal is following that consistently. So better to go by mandatory requirement according to me. But you can take a chance if at all you have missed that, then different thing. But you cannot plan it accordingly.
Okay. What is your view about the deemed sale on account of non-production of F form? That is, whether deeming provision under section 6A1 can be said to be constitutionally valid or not?
Yeah, our PC Joshi has already given his own view on that. Now, what is your
support the
same? So it cannot be. But only thing is that I want to draw attention to one judgment of Karnataka High Court in case of New Kiran Cashew 9 VST 220. This was challenged that you cannot deem it when it is only to branch. But High Court said that no, it is for controlling the transactions, so deeming is proper. So having that judgment of the High Court on constitutional validity, probably we have to be guarded and to take a different view. Of course, it is still open to litigation before higher forums and High Court of Bombay. But I just want to draw attention to the judgment of the Karnataka. Okay, next.
Section 7. SEZ unit has given order to local vendor who has transferred the said requirement iPhone cannot be given to him. And even
No, iPhone still can be given to local because it may be interstate by a local supplier also. Issue is whether he can directly issue to the original supplier by which he cannot leave it CST. That is, I think, not possible, but some planning is going on. So just be take precaution. Okay.
thank you, sir.
So very much, sir. Thank you. Group 4, Mr. Kotla.
On the dais and friends, I am reporting on behalf of the group number 4. This first query, whether the bus contractor while executing a contract can effect sale by transfer of document of the title to the goods. The answer of our group is in negative, as it depends on the contract between the parties.
Okay. So divisible, yes. Not divisible, no. Then next.
Then second, a dealer received goods for job work from outside the state. Customer,
Listen this very minutely, please.
the dealer received goods for job work from outside the state customer. Job worker did not issue F form to the customer. The assessing authority of the job worker assumed that by not issue of F form to customer, there is deemed purchase and therefore the dispatch of goods to customer after job work is interstate sale. Though F form received from the customer for the goods return, the assessing authority did not agree with the same, as customer is not branch or agent. In other words, he levies CST. Whether above action is justified in the eyes of law.
The question is, we received goods from outside customer. The job worker has not issued F form to that party. So STO says that it is now your purchase because you have not issued F form. And that is why you are returning back his amount to sale because you have purchased it is your own goods. What is now dispatched becomes a transfer of property again and that is why sale. And in spite of I have received a form from my customer, he is not agreeing to that because he is not an agent or something like that, he is a principal to principal. So on both counts he is saying that you are lapsed. Solid है ना? So अभी तो reply भी आप
Okay?
काय झाला?
Reply देतो ना.
Reply.
The action of the assessing authority is correct in our group's opinion, as F form is made mandatory with effect from 10th May 2002.
So what I want to say, whether it is a deemed sale or not has to be first decided. Not receiving my F form to the customer, whether that assessing of the customer has considered a sale, that it was my purchase. So first finding has to be done by that always. My officer cannot take a chance that no, it is a purchase by you. That is what I want to take a stand. Unless that findings are available, unless this dispatch is considered a sale, I cannot be treated as a purchase. So because see in our Maharashtra also, Commissioner exempted F forms for up to 2010. So in spite of that, I have not received F form, still it is branch stamp, etc. So similar position can apply in the other state also. So there is no such, I think this is not justified. Mandatory from 2002.
Yes.
It is only that we are now implementing it. So don't take this chance also. Okay?
Third,
Now next.
whether courier receipt will be valid for E1, E2 transaction. The courier receipt will not be valid for E1 or
Okay.
E2 transaction.
Okay, we agree with that. Okay?
The goods were lying, the fourth one, the goods were lying in godown of the transporter. Dealer issued the delivery order addressed to the transporter to deliver the goods to his customer. Whether claim under section 6.2 is available. Yes, it falls under section 6.2 as the direction of the delivery of the goods is given before termination of the delivery from the transporter.
But first of my question is something different, that he has not transferred that LR. He has issued his own delivery challenge, directing transporter to give it to some buyer.
Yeah, he is direct.
Now that will not fall within 6.2. Because that will amount to notional delivery and then further delivery to buyer. If you have transferred the LR itself, then
But he is not transferring the LR, but he is giving the direction to the transporter.
That is why that amounts to different positions. That means that you are taking notional delivery and then sending it to it. If you are transfer the LR, then it's okay. That is what M. Ramalu judgment has been cited by. Okay. Again, next.
Then further 5. On page 57, the learned paper writer has referred to case of Suraj Dyestuff Private Limited, 42 MPJ 1CG, and observed that due to erasure of name of foreign buyer on bill of lading, the section 53 km is disallowed. Whether any possibility to get it allowed? Yes, 53 claim can be allowed. The reason is that the name is erased to keep the trade secret.
Probably this may not be valid because when you want certified copy, department will say that I should be able to read what is Uzud, otherwise you can give anybody's copy and I should allow, that will not happen. But there is one internal circular 18A of 2009, dated 18/8/2009, where Commissioner has said that even if erasure is there, still you don't take objection, subject to other conditions fulfilled. So you can take benefit of this effort.
6.
Yeah.
Whether an unregistered dealer can obtain H form from the sales tax department to be issued to the vendor.
Whether unregistered dealer can obtain H form.
Yes,
He can obtain.
he can.
Okay. Yeah.
Whether there is any conflict between section 6A and rule 5 of the CST in respect of the issue form F. The F form should be issued monthly only. The periodicity for the F form is
No,
monthly.
I think Ashwin Acharya can throw light on that. He has rightly pointed to tribunal that section 6A requires this should be supported by F form. No periodicity is given in that section 6A. Neither authority is given to frame the rules about periodicity in section 6A. So it is conflicting. Even tribunal said that is conflicting. Once I produce F form, I must be allowed the claim, and periodicity is not at all in picture as per section 6A. Yeah. So they have agreed, but they say it is beyond our limitation. Now in that same party's case, I have filed writ petition before High Court, and we are waiting for what will happen there. But according to there is real conflict. Section 6A is very specific. They have said that in the prescribed form as a prescribed, but there is no mandate given to frame the time limit or periodicity. So, Simplified but covering more there. Yeah, that judgment is there, but we are challenging the validity that once I produce a form, whether monthly or quarterly or yearly, I must be allowed. That is what we are saying. ऊपर ही ले जाओ. Friends, only one question has remained to be stated about page number question 1, which was posed to every group, that whether bus contractor while executing contract can effect sale under section 6(2). Now 3 groups have said no, 1 group has said yes. Now I go with the 3 groups. In the sense, it is not possible normally because contractor is supposed to use his own goods and then the question of completing the sale will come. So before the goods are used in the contract, he is bound to take delivery from the transporter and then only it will take place. So there is no possibility. But our partners are also given a different view. Group 1 is also a different view. So we can examine that. But this is what I wanted the opinion of the group in totality. So that's what we are considering. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, word of thanks by Shirodi.
Announcement that the 70th National Convention paper is available on the counters for 300 rupees and 30th RRC paper for 250. Our today's speaker is from Pune, so I thought it would be appropriate to give the vote of thanks सरांना देताना मला अतिशय आनंद व अभिमान वाटतोय. STPM असोसिएशनच्या वतीने मी श्री अनिल वखारे यांचे अभिनंदन करून त्यांचे आभार मानतो आणि मी आपल्या सर्वांना विनंती करतो की आपण विरोध झाल्यावर आभार मानतो.
चेयरमैन का तो बोल.
अभिवादन करतो.
Now there is a lunch break immediately.
And within half an hour we will reassemble, please.
भाई you ready थे?
Hello. Hello, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. After good lunch, everybody is not sleeping yet. No. Today's subject is work contract. Intricacies on work contract. Analysis and issues. Friends, work contract is very vast and endless subject. From Supreme Court judgment of Janandan Kankarle till today, the work contract law is in developing stage. My friend Mr. Pranav Kapadia has tried to give justice to this subject. Regarding today's chairman, Shri P.C. Joshi sir, he is the senior most personality in the field of sales tax. And friends, we are lucky today to hear his comments on this subject. Now I request Alok Bhai to give Alok Bhai to give introduction.
Respected President Shri Pankaj Bhai, convener Shri Pradeep Kapadia, on dais Shri Shashank Doon, and my colleague Ashish Shah, seniors in friends, seniors in profession, and my friends. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
It gives me a great pleasure, a proud privilege to introduce our today's chairman, Shri P.C. Joshi. Shri P.C. Joshi is an advocate practicing in sales tax and income tax since more than 51 years. During his practice, he appeared in Tribunal, High Court and Supreme Court. And not only that, around 1,000 more cases he must have fought in this Tribunal, High Court and Supreme Court. Not only that, India was honored by Philippines edition of the American Newsweek by publishing Mr. P.C. Joshi photograph in a front cover page. It's an honor to all of us. In the first analysis, he has given his views on the penalty provision as a paper writer in conflict with their understanding. I will not believe it. That was approved after 20 years by Bombay High Court in the judgment of Indo-European engineering case, which shows the brilliance of this person. Apart from this, he has been the president of the Sales Tax Practitioner Association of Maharashtra, the Sales Tax Tribunal Bar Association, the Chamber of Income Tax Consultants, and All India Federation of the Tax Practitioners. He was also a national president of the Giants Federation of India and the Giant International. Currently, he is the deputy world chairman of Giant International. He has been active participant at the seminar and conference as a paper writer, commander, as a chairman, and addressed the participant at a training and referential course organized by the various organizations throughout the country. सर आपके लिए खाली एक ही चीज बोल सकते हैं आज के लिए सहल हो गई वो मंजिले सहल हो गई वो मंजिले वो हवा का रुख बदल गया सहल हो गई वो मंजिले वो हवा का रुख बदल गया पीसी जोशी साहब के चेयरमैन होने से पीसी जोशी साहब के चेयरमैन होने से प्रणव कापालिया के लिए पेपर आसान हो गया With this brief introduction, please put your hands together, give a warm welcome and regards that AIFT Man of Millennium and the stalwart in the Sales Tax law, Shri P.C. Joshi. Before he proceeds, I request Dr. Shashank Doon to offer a memento on behalf of STPM paper writer, Pranav Kapadia. Pranav Kapadia is Chairman Council of Profession. He is in technical practice 15 years. He has addressed various seminars and lectures on MBAT and CST at the STPM, in the Chamber of Test Consultant, in WRC of Consultant of ICAI. Again, request Prashant Goswami, please offer a memento and the bouquet on our behalf. Please give it up. And before I give this podium, I must say that the two shairi which you will listen from me is nothing but the boss of the shairi, Mr. Pradeep Kapadia. So give it up to Mr. Pradeep Kapadia for this shairi. Thank you very much. I have to Pradeep. Sorry,
Good afternoon, everybody. I think to preside over a session immediately after lunch and then it's too difficult. But let me tell you, the paper writer has contributed, I would say, his heart and blood. It's an encyclopedia on the subject. And when I met him first, I told him that if the STP Association was the university, I would have recommended to give him doctorate on one subject. But one thing which I noticed is, his paper is too long. I don't know if all of you have read it fully or not, but I cannot say that I have not read it. Patkar was right yesterday when he said that when Rupaben gave a paper, it was on a particularly virgin area. And if I count the judgments, I have virtually physically counted. The minimum is Rupaben and the maximum is Mr. Kapadia, Junior Kapadia, I would say. So, I would request Mr. Kapadia to, instead of going by page,
the Builders Association case, the Cannon Dunkerley 2, and now the L&T judgment. Everywhere this 9 STC has been reported and referred to. It still stands the day. There are still a lot many things in Cannon Dunkerley 1 which, in spite of the 1958 judgment and even after the constitutional amendment of 1982, wherein Article 366(29)(a) bracket B, which we are concerned with, was amended, that has come up. Earlier, the controversy was whether the transaction, earlier means prior to the 46th amendment, the controversy was whether the transaction is a transaction of sale, whether it's a contract of sale or contract of works. And Cannon Dunkerley was the basis of all the judicial pronouncements therein. Thereafter, to overcome the judgment, a law commission was set up. As per the recommendations of the law commission, the 46th amendment to the constitution took place in 82. Thereafter, the state laws, they amended their acts and works contract transactions got taxed under the state laws respectively. The CST amendment came much later, it came in 2002. But earlier it was only the state laws which had taxed the works contract transactions. The basic issue was whether the composite transactions for supply of goods and services or supply of goods and labor, whether they are taxable as works contract or not. And that is what the 46th amendment has tried to bring in. The 46th amendment has tried to, has made it that the transfer of property goods involved in the execution of a works contract will be a sale as deemed by the Constitution. Then subsequently, we had the Builders Association case regarding the validity of the constitutional amendment, and that was in 1989, and the constitutional validity was upheld of 366(29)(a). Then Cannon Dunkerley 2 came in, which gave the measure of taxation over there. How to compute the tax liability in such cases was in Cannon Dunkerley 2. Then we have some certain judgments regarding printing, which was in Sarodel printing, which held them as taxable. Madhushri Textile, which says that even if there is a little material involved in the transaction and there is a transfer of property in that transaction, then it is taxable. Then we have the famous judgment of BSNL. The dominant intention theory has been very much in detail explained by this judgment. Then we have the impugned judgment of Raheja of 2006, and whereafter the AMLAT Act was amended to incorporate the definition of works contract as was under the Karnataka Act. And then finally we have the two latest judgments of L&T, and the latest is MCHI of 2014 of 31st January 2014. I have tried to deal with all this. The meaning of works contract. Basically, where there is a sale, chattel huwa chattel, it is a sales transaction, and where the sale is by a theory of accession and theory of accretion, there those transactions would be the works contract transactions. Ashwin Bhai in his recent editorial has given a very good write-up on nucleus theory. I was not aware about the nucleus theory in Ashwin Bhai, but I read it for the first time. I think it has a very base that a works contract is done on the property of the other person. There has to be some property of the other person. If you are constructing a wall in a building, then it is the property, that wall is the property of the other person. If you are painting that, it is the property of that other person. If you are sending your cars for repairs, the car has come for repairing and you are adding some materials and some spare parts. So that nucleus is there. So that nucleus is necessary for the works contract transactions. The CST Act was amended subsequently in section. Now this works contract has not been defined. Although 36(29)(a) has said that such types of works contract transactions would be taxable, works contract per se is not defined in the Constitution. It is not defined in the AMLAT Act. In the CST Act, section 2J defines the works contract. The terminology is almost similar, although few words here and there are different in the AMLAT Act as compared to the CST Act, but basically it is defined in the CST Act. The recent judgments of L&T has upheld the explanation D2 to section 2 subsection 24 of the AMLAT Act, judgment in 65 VST 1 has referred to the MCHI judgment.